Welcome everybody to the podcast once again. The Construction Ahead podcast. I'm pretty sure you guys have all kinds of options to watch, but for some reason you're watching or listening to mine. So, man, there's a lot of things have been happening lately, and the first thing that I want to talk about is my wife and I have been married for over a year now. We're fairly new at this marriage thing. We're newlyweds. In marriage, you go through things and you go through good patches in your life and some rough patches, but all in all, the results of a marriage are sometimes having kids. So, my wife and I are having a child. So, we just recently announced officially on social media. So that makes it official, I guess. But yeah, I mean it's been crazy. I mean I've been like telling everyone on stage every week because I've been doing open mics every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and every week I'm like I'm having a kid, and just because I have a bit that I've been working on that has a lot to do with me having kids or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy. We're excited. We're nervous. And it is what it is, man. We're very excited. A lot of people ask us, what do you want? Like, do you want a boy or a girl? What do you prefer? We just want a child. Like, we're just happy with the first one. We're just hoping for a healthy kid, And I've watched a few documentaries that have made me very paranoid about. Oh, man, don't tell me this thing's gonna do this. All right. There was a lot of documentaries that I had watched that made me very paranoid, like Abducted in Plain Sight. Don't the it, All right. If you guys haven't seen that documentary, it is on Netflix, and is the most ridiculous thing that I have ever like watched. Simply because it's like, come on, like what it is this one dude who's a pedophile before pedophiles were a thing, I guess. That was the parents' excuse for why all this stuff happened. They didn't know what a pedophile was, but it was this older man who was just showing so much interest in one of their little girls, and he would be like, "Oh, I want to take her camping." Keep in mind they had other kids, but he only selected to take her. And it's just like these parents are just the dumbest parents on the face of this earth. Like they are so dumb. Like and a lot of people are like, "Oh man, but you just like you shouldn't criticize them like that." I was like, no, they're stupid. Like those parents are like the world's worst parents that I have ever seen ever. They messed up by making that documentary because they are dumb. They're not smart. So basically, they let a predator get close, and they didn't see the warning signs or the signals, and this girl got her freaking life ruined, and now me being that I'm about to be a parent, that about to be a father, I just know that I don't have to do that. I just have to make it through my child's life without me screwing up so bad that happens to them, because it was ridiculously bad. Like I'm telling you, you guys should watch it on Netflix. It's called Abducted in Plain Sight. It's like if you want to see an example of terrible parents, go ahead and watch that. And they're crying, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe this would ever happen." But the whole time I was like, "How would you not know?" And yeah, it's there's like a meme going on because that predator guy had got with the mom, and then got with the husband. It was weird. It was in like the 70s or something, and where like sexual revolution was on the rise or something. But this, I don't know, man. All right, I will share this. There's a scene where the father of the girl who was abducted, and abducted's like a very not even a good word to use. The father that gave his like daughter up basically to this pedophile is he like he was the pedophile guy was like trying to gain the trust of the family. So both of the father and the pedophile dude go out on a drive, and they're wearing glasses that are way too big for their face, And the guy pulls over, the pedophile dude is driving, and the dude was like, man, he was complaining about his wife, and he was like, yeah, man, I haven't gotten laid in a long time, or we're like, our sex is terrible, and I need relief. And then he asks the father, he's like, hey, man, do you mind relieving me, please? And he was like, excited. Not the father, but the pedophile guy. He was, he had a boner, is what I'm trying to say. And freaking the dude gives him, pleasures him. Like, he went along with it. At that point, I would have gotten out of the car after I beat the shit out of him. Honestly, because who goes through that? So he secretly, I don't know what is up with that family or where they're from. But it was just amazingly ridiculous. It's a bad story, but it's a perfect example of how not to be a parent. So I suggest every future parent to watch that, because I was like, as long as I don't do that, I think I'll be fine. Right? So yeah, my wife and I are having a kid, so woo! Yeah. Here's like, yeah. So recently, I had on my podcast, I had a couple of my friends. I had Anthony and Ty, and we talked about R. Kelly, and we talked about the Fyre Festival. And for some reason, I can't get this stuff out of my mind. Like the whole R. Kelly thing, and not that I'm gonna bring up the old stuff that we talked about, is because I was recently watching through YouTube, and I stumbled across. I didn't stumble. I searched it because Ty had told me to look at it, and I was just like, I don't think I can because I can't support that monster or whatever the hell that it was that I said. But you guys, seriously, I know it feels like you're supporting R. Kelly by doing this, but you're really not. I just want you guys to look at how ridiculously insane this man was. And he was honestly, I have to give it up to him, because he's very creative for doing this. But you guys gotta go on YouTube and look up "Trapped in the Closet." Look up "Trapped in the Closet" and look up as many episodes as you can take. The first 3 are unbelievable, right? I don't want to spoil anything. If anything, I want to have someone on the show so we could watch it and break it down, like, because it's unbelievably ridiculous. And it's like, honestly, like, I had looked, I couldn't get past the 6th episode or the 6th chapter, because what it is, it's one song, right? It's like a musical, okay? If you really think about it, this shit is a musical, right? So R. Kelly is putting on this big old drama, soap opera thing, and he's like singing about it. So it starts with him in the closet, and then all kinds of things. So he's hooking up with some chick. She doesn't look underage, but anyways, so she's got a man and he's got a wife. So he's got to hide in the closet because the chick that he was with, her husband, was coming up the stairs. So yeah, that's how it starts, and that's as much as I can say, because the rest is wild, right? And it just gets crazier and crazier. And at one point, I will say this one more thing. At one point, R. Kelly is like, there's a white, like, girl in his story, and he makes her sound like a hillbilly. Like, he sings her with an accent of a hillbilly. It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous, you guys. It's, oh my goodness. If you guys don't check it out, you guys are doing yourself a disservice, because that's like unintentional comedy right there. I swear to you, I there's been so many times where I just had to pause the video and just start laughing, because I was like, it's ridiculous how this happens. You know, how I was watching. I don't know, like how he thought of doing this, and it's like, it's very it was hilarious. Another thing that I can't get out of my head, because I watched the whole documentary once again yesterday, is that whole Fyre Festival thing. Oh my goodness. Again, I don't really feel bad for the people that fell for this, because there are obviously people who have money, disposable income, who basically they thought they were going to a luxury festival, and they spent a lot of money on it. And when they got there, it was mostly like white people and a few Asians that are like flaunting their money, and they love getting likes on Instagram, and that's what it's all about. So when people chase after likes on Instagram, Those are the kind of things that happen to you, right? When fraud happens to you, everyone's like, well, you should have Google searched everything. Especially when in this the probably the towards the end of the documentary where they talk about this Frank guy who was started this other company, which is like NYC Entertainment something, and he was emailing all the people from the Fyre Fest and saying, hey, we got access to the Grammys, we got access to Taylor Swift, and $500 a pop or whatever it might be. But yeah, like those people who fell for that, even because all you had to do was Google things, and then you'd be like, all right, time to stay away from that. That's why I'm glad that I don't have disposable money like that. I mean, it would be nice to have money and be like, hey, I'm gonna go to this festival because it seems like a fun thing to do, or it's just. But yeah, it seems like all these people that went, like, they could have easily gone to Coachella. They could have easily saved their money and gone to an epic spring break celebration or whatever it is that college people do these days. But they decided to it was like the people that were interested in Coachella, they pulled out of that and went to the Fyre Festival because they were like, oh, this is a new event and we're gonna get all kinds of likes. That's all it was about. It wasn't necessarily about having fun, because all these people had cameras, all these people were big on their Instagram pages, and they were gonna, everyone that was like interviewed that was a guest was like videotaping themselves, like, we're going to Fyre Festival, and they're doing that self-shot videos or whatever. And it's like, dude, yeah, like all you're doing is you want attention, is what you want. And damn, that's what happens when I mean, I guess it sucks though, because no one wants to be screwed over, but at the same time, it's weird how the world works, because a lot of people are like, oh, see, well, it's a bunch of white people with money, aha, that's funny. I mean, if it were to happen to a bunch of poor people, like if everyone was like tricked into thinking that they were going to have some luxurious event and it was cheap, and then when they get there, it turns out that they were all getting robbed, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. But society is like, oh, it's hilarious because this is happening to white people with money, and people with money, basically the wealthy, and everyone's saying, they're gonna be fine, they have enough money, they're suing and they're gonna get their money back, which is probably true, but it is like, I was just saying that like as a side note, I wasn't saying it as in like I'm not here to play tug of war and be like, oh, I'm on the side of the poor people because I'm the middle class or whatever, or because I don't know, I would be really pissed. Like, it's kind of like those timeshares, like, I don't think timeshares are smart, but I've known people who've bought them before and they've gone and they use them, and I'm always like, it seems like a scam to me. You cannot pull me into those rooms. You can't. I sat into like in a meeting with like a fake Primerica pyramid scheme, and I call the bluff all the time. I can't fall for that. Like, it's not that I wouldn't fall for it. I just don't allow myself to be put, like, I don't let my mind go to that point where I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. No, man, a lot of the times I'm like, all right, so you mean I can make you money while making me money by working under you, but I have to bring people under me, and then those people, when they bring people under them, I get paid off of what they get, and it just goes on in the chain. And you can buy a boat one day and a helicopter and all that stuff. It's like, oh man, those people, like, honestly, when they get mocked for what they did, or for falling for that stuff, it's like, it's kind of, you kind of deserve it, but you also feel bad for them, right? Because a lot of these people that fall for this, like Primerica, who fall for this, like Herbal Life and whatnot, like, they fall for these things, and they're usually Hispanic people, because it seems easy for Hispanics to be like, oh, like, the United States is the land of opportunity, it's like, why wouldn't stuff like this exist, right? And there's two very different things between the Fyre Festival and like Herbal Life and Primerica, because it's not like Fyre Festival. They were promising one thing, and I'm pretty sure they really thought that they could deliver. I know all the people had like a strong faith in the festival. The people that worked to not to promote it, but to put it all together had a very They had their doubts, obviously, towards the end, but towards the beginning, they were like, oh, if they had enough time, they could have pulled it off. I will put it like that. If they had enough time and enough budget, they could have pulled it off. But they tried to do it way too quick, and they didn't adjust for any you're gonna run into problems with any project that you start, right? Regardless of what you're doing, any project that you start, if you're building a car, you're gonna run into problems where you're like, oh, I bought this engine, but it doesn't really work, so now I have to find another engine, but I don't have enough money, so now you have to put off when you had a deadline, when you said, oh, by this month I want to be driving that 1969 Chevelle or whatever, pick whatever car you like, the 2002 Toyota Prius, right? I wanted to fix that car up so I could drive it this weekend or whatever it might be. I don't have a Prius, by the way. But yeah, like it's that was the difference between like the Fyre Festival and the fraud in this whole Fyre Festival, and the fraud that was happening with these like pyramid schemes that I brought up earlier. It's like everyone had an expectation, but it wasn't quite met, but it wasn't because it was never intended, right? I'm pretty sure they intended to have this badass festival and to keep it going and to reamp it every single year. And I'm pretty sure Ja Rule would have loved that idea, right? That's what he was probably expecting to happen, right? For people to have an amazing time, to throw this amazing festival where people have such a good time that they hashtag Fyre Festival, and then now everyone wants to go to this exclusive luxury festival, right? Obviously that didn't happen and it collapsed, but is different when between that fraud and the fraud with these pyramid schemes, because a lot of these pyramid schemes, they make you work. They make you work with promises that you're going to have so much money one day that you're not going to know what the hell to do with it, and you're investing so much of your time, of so much of your own money, and it's like, oh man, like, and sadly, like I said, a lot of Hispanics fall into that fraud. I remember once I sat in with a meeting, because that's what they call it. A company is sketchy when they have to go to your house, when they have to sit in your living room, when they have to sit in your dinner table and explain to you why their company works. No, they don't even have offices, right? You would think that it would be like H&R Block. Like, you could just go up to an H&R Block and do your taxes. That makes sense. It's easy, it's verifiable. But they're like, oh, can we come to your house and explain to you why our company is so bitchin'? Like, no, like it's ridiculous. And I'm glad and I'm thankful that you could say that it's God, or you could say that it's me growing, but I'm just so glad that I've never had that in my head to be like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Like, it's always been shady to me. It's always been like, no, something's off here, and turns out that it is, because there's another documentary on Netflix that's called Herbal Life. And that one is interesting, right? And it's about the Herbal Life thing, and these again, Hispanic people are all over that documentary because they get tricked into it. Again, like, you say you came from another country thinking that you're gonna have opportunity, right? That's the whole point that you're coming. That's why you're coming over here, right? You're coming because of opportunity. You come here and someone gives you an opportunity, right? They say that it's an opportunity. It sounds too good to be true, but again, that's what you came here for. You've already risked so much. You've risked your health. You've risked getting in trouble with the law when you were crossing over here. Like, I get it. So this little financial risk is nothing to you, or it's not even that it's nothing to you. It just makes more sense to you to do something like that than to really look into it. And what's sad is back then is that we didn't have Google. Like, we had Google, but it was like dial-up connection, and we didn't have like high-speed internet, and we didn't have smartphones back then where we can look it up. And it's just like, man, that's why, like, honestly, I feel really bad for anybody who fell for the whole pyramid scheme, anything like straight out of high school. I saw a few people in my high school that did that. I feel bad when their parents do it. Them, on the other hand, I don't really feel bad, because we went to school, we were educated, we should have known better, right? In no class in economics and government, that's what they should tell you. Stay away from freaking pyramid schemes. They're not real, right? But they don't teach you that stuff. Instead, they're just like, well, we're going to teach you arithmetic and we're going to teach you vocabulary. And after that, you're still going to spell shit wrong on your text messages. So why even bother? Instead, in schools, we're not really being taught how to live. You know, I've learned, in all honesty, you guys, I've learned so much just from just living out in the world than I ever have in school. So, and I'm not saying that school is not important. It's very important, and trust me, my child is gonna go to school and learn all these things and have cafeteria food and play outside and all these things. However, like a lot of the things that I have learned, all the intuition that I've learned, like I know what it's called. It's called being street smart or whatever. But all that stuff I didn't learn from books. I didn't learn from teachers. I learned from experiencing and thank goodness I didn't have to learn from a pyramid scheme, because that would have sucked, you know. Instead, I'm doing some other, shenanigans, and I'm working to be a comedian now, and it's been fun. It really has been, but I know I'm just getting started with that, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough. But yeah, I can't get over the whole Fyre Fest, and I didn't even think that I was gonna bring up pyramid schemes, but here I am. Stay away from pyramid schemes, you guys. It's just like if you think you're gonna fall into a pyramid scheme, ask a millennial if it's a good idea, or I don't know, ask someone like that might be a lot like me. Is this a good idea? 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna tell you no. I have a friend who does all kinds of sketchy shit with his like taxes and stuff, and he's like, nah, it's legit. You just need a new social security number afterwards. I'm like, then it's not legit, man. What are you talking about? And like I couldn't convince him, and I had like 3 other people like come up to him and tell him like, dude, that is illegal. Like Dana White, that's illegal, right? So speaking of not Dana White, but to kind of segue into fighting, tonight there's actually a fight. It's a Bellator fight, and it's on DAZN. Which is that new network that was, I think, Canelo Alvarez was like a part of it. This is just this new fighting app, this new fighting a network, I guess, and it's like a subscription service. And I didn't know that they were doing like Bellator fights. I really didn't. I thought it was just boxing, because if it was just boxing, I was like, that's a terrible idea, because no one's gonna watch that much boxing. Seriously, like people watch the big Showtime pay-per-view fights. They don't necessarily watch like boxing night on Telemundo. People don't watch that stuff. Let's be real. Yeah, except maybe like that one uncle who thinks he's Oscar de la Hoya, but he drinks way too many Coronas. Or Coors. I don't know what he drinks. Whatever. But yeah. Yeah, so that fight's happening tonight. It's Michael Venom Page versus I cannot remember who, but this is a big. It's been hyped, like pretty big. This is the only big fight that's happening this on Sunday, because a lot of the times there's like a UFC event that's happening on the same day, which I prefer to watch. Not because I don't think I don't know, man. I try to watch one championship once. I watched a fight with Ben Askren in it, and it just doesn't give me the same like UFC MMA vibe for some reason. It doesn't feel the same. I know they're fighting, and I'm sure they're like dude, it's like legit stuff, but it just doesn't seem real to me. I don't know what it is. Like it doesn't seem like it's not as entertaining. Like we need to have that UFC. The UFC is just on top of the game. That's all that it is. Love it or hate it, it doesn't matter. And trust me, one championship has great fighters. They just got Mighty Mouse, and they got Misha Tate is fighting over there now, and so is I forgot who else. But there's been like a lot of obviously a lot of fighters are fighting for one championship, and a lot more fighters are fighting for Bellator right now. Obviously, we have Michael Venom Page, who's like he's like an Instagram sensation in the fighting world. Like you see him, the way he acts with his antics, and he likes Pokemon, and he comes out with an Infinity Gauntlet after he beats someone. He's very like showboaty, and people hate that. Obviously, I mean, look at Money Mayweather. He showboats so much, people hate him because of that reason. And that's how Michael Venom Page is, really. But it's not like, I don't know if he's a champ. I don't know how it works in other divisions or in other championships, right? Because I know in the UFC, if you're a championship, you're going 5 rounds, and the winner of those 5 rounds will go home with the belt. And that seems like those are the stakes right there. And then there's bouts. And I didn't really look too much into this because I don't have DAZN, and I'm not gonna pay money for DAZN. I'm really not. So it's like I'd rather miss the fight or whatever. But tomorrow on Sunday, we have on ESPN we have Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez, and you can't tell me that's not gonna be a fun fight to watch. Hopefully, even though the last few fights that Ngannou was in, I think he fought against Lewis and I can't remember who. The last fight, well, ever since he fought Stipe and like everyone thought that was gonna be an amazing matchup, Stipe kind of just took him to, like, he just out wrestled him, outclassed him. He didn't. Stipe didn't really seem challenged on that fight, and everyone made it seem like, even myself. I remember when that fight was about to happen, I had thought that it was like, oh, Ngannou is just a nightmare and he's scary, but Stipe, he's just the man, right? And he was the champion and he defended his belt, and at the time Francis Ngannou was like the #1 heavyweight contender, so everyone was excited, and that fight was kind of like whatever. And then the fights after that, when he fought Lewis, was like very whatever. The last exciting thing that Francis Ngannou did was send Alistair Overeem into space. That's the last thing, really. But yeah, I mean, I still want to watch it because I heard that Cain Velasquez has actually bounced back and he's actually like killing it right now. So I think anytime Francis Ngannou fights, there's still a chance that you might see a really bad knockout. I mean, he's still a scary man. Believe me, if I were to see him in face to face and he was angry at me, I'd run away as fast as I can. And he'd probably still catch me, and then he'd probably throw me. Yeah, that guy is a scary person, but I'm not gonna take anything away from Cain Velasquez because I'm pretty sure he can do the same thing. I think a lot of people can. Hey guys, I'm not a tough guy. But anyways, speaking of tough guys, I had a friend ask me what I think about this whole El Chapo being sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 100%. I don't even know why. I don't even have to look that up. How would he parole in the United States if he's not even from here, right? But he is definitely getting charged here. He's getting booked here, and he's getting locked up. And my friend was like, "Do you think he's gonna escape?" And I was like, honestly, this is happening in the good old U.S. of A. We're gonna have a bald eagle watching him and a Texan on call just in case. I think he's there, right? One thing that's interesting that someone told me though is that what if this is not the real Chapo Guzman? What if it's like a clone or a double? You know, keep in mind he had so much money. It's not under the realm of possibility. I'm pretty sure he could have done that. So we don't know. Maybe the guy that we have locked up right now isn't the real Chapo Guzman. Did we do a DNA test on this guy? I don't know, but yeah, he's had so much money because of obviously the whole. He was a narcotics trafficker. Like he was trafficking narcotics, and people want that stuff. They really do, and it's just, I don't know. He was like a distributor of illegal stuff. So I don't know. I don't think he's getting out. I personally, it doesn't affect me. You know, like I'm not a El Chapo supporter. You know, I'm not I'm not behind his back and be like, release him. You know, I think that's crazy. But at the same time, it's like that it was just wild. That man is wild, you know, and you have to kind of see him for the gangster that he is, and be like, wow, I can't believe he got away with that for that long. And a lot of I don't know. I would think that, like, if you're in that drug trafficking world, you either know that you're gonna probably you're probably gonna get arrested at some point. So they make the best out of it. I mean, look at Pablo Escobar. He had like elephants and hippopotamuses and tigers in his backyard, and in his front yard he had like peacocks and lions and panthers and freaking the last woolly mammoth. I don't know. I don't know. He had all kinds of things, man. He had a basketball court, and he had like a pool table, and instead of those pool balls, he used like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna keep going with that because it's I don't have enough time. So, anyways, yeah, and one thing that is a fact though about Pablo Escobar is he used to eat his eggs using bald eagle eggs. Like he would. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. All right, that was it. That was the last of it. And I guess the last thing that I can bring up right now is the NBA All-Star is here. It's tonight. And then after this, I'm telling you, the race is going to be strong. It's going to be, this is when the NBA gets exciting, right? This is what a lot of people have been waiting for. This is where I start to really pay attention. Before that, it's kind of like the teams are warming up and they're getting there. And right now, it's time to really book it, yo. It's time to freaking really play hard and try to gain playoff position. That's going to be real big right now, and we're going to see all kinds of trades. Right now, there's all kinds of drama hanging around Anthony Davis and LeBron James and the Lakers. And are the Pelicans going to trade him to the Lakers? Because that's the only team he's going to go to if he does get traded. Let's be for real right now. Unfortunately, for someone who was a Boston Celtics fan like me, who wanted Anthony Davis to come to the Celtics at the end of the season, which like that would be ideal, but still, it's like it's so dumb. People are angry, right, at Boston because of how they dealt with Isaiah Thomas. I mean, it was a sad situation with his daughter, his sister being killed. And then soon after that, the Celtics traded him, right? They traded him to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which at the time was like their enemy, right? They traded him to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Kyrie Irving, and there was all kinds of assets moved. So a lot of people, including Anthony Davis's father, I believe, had stated, I don't want Anthony Davis to he doesn't want his son to play there because of the way they handled the situation with Isaiah Thomas. Now, there was like a video that my friend sent me, and it was like a kid playing against Russell Westbrook or something like that. Or it was Russell Westbrook playing with his son, like on the court, like warming up, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's nice to see Isaiah Thomas back on the floor," like saying that Russell Westbrook's son is Isaiah Thomas because he's small, and he's a little kid. And I was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are so sympathetic of Isaiah Thomas. You guys are talking shit on his height and how small he looks, but you guys are like, oh, the Celtics are bastards for doing that trade." And then the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Sometimes, right? Today's podcast word of the day is unbelievable. All right. So, but in the All-Star, I don't know what it is, but I have the roster right here listed, and just to kind of read it off. And honestly, I think I don't understand. Did LeBron James freaking was he allowed to pick first and pick his whole team first? Goodness gracious, he's got everyone that's way better. It doesn't make sense. I think they should go back to East versus West. That was the better way to do it. Because I'm telling you, it's either Giannis doesn't know everybody in the NBA who's good, or LeBron. Because I'm pretty sure, like, when Giannis didn't pick Kyrie Irving, he's like, "Are you serious?" And when he didn't pick LaMarcus Aldridge, he's like, "Are you serious?" When he didn't pick Anthony Davis, all right, are you freaking serious? Like, or Kawhi Leonard. Okay, on Team LeBron, we have obviously LeBron. We have Kevin Durant. Why do we need to go on? James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kawhi Leonard. Those are the starters, just the starters. On Team Giannis, obviously we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, or whatever the hell the Greek freak. And then he picked Stephen Curry, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Kemba Walker. Like, just put those two teams up against each other and have them play to 21. I'm picking Team LeBron for sure because it's a lot powerful. And it's like, no, like, dude, I don't think Giannis knows how to pick players. I really don't think they don't do that wherever he's from. The Greek freak from Greece or whatever. So on the reserves on LeBron's side is LaMarcus Aldridge, which I'm a huge fan of. Honestly, I really do like LaMarcus Aldridge. Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, which I'm not sure he's gonna play. I think he's got an injury or something. I'm not sure, but whatever. Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Klay Thompson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Dwayne Wade. All right. I think LeBron James chose Dwayne Wade just because they're like best friends and they want to sleep with each other again. I'm just kidding. I'm not implying that they're gay. They just like to do gay stuff too with each other, and that's it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. They're probably good friends. And shout out to Dwayne Wade. Actually, he actually freaking played really good recently. He just shows like little spurts of how he used to be. But he's definitely this is his last season, so obviously to make him an all-star this last season, I'm pretty sure he's honored. And I honestly can't really think of anybody else that can take his place in that position, really. I mean, keep in mind, the other team has someone similar that I'm like, all right, I don't know why you picked him, but I know why, but you could have gotten someone else, right? So coaching the All-Star team, the team LeBron, which is freaking stupid. They shouldn't have a coach. Honestly, the coach probably just gets drunk every All-Star. So that's what I would do. I just get super faded and be like, you guys are just gonna play. I'm gonna get up and just yell something, and then you guys are gonna go back out there and play, and that's it. Like, it's not serious. This whole All-Star game is not a serious thing. So Michael Malone, for the coach of the Denver Nuggets, is coaching Team LeBron, aka getting drunk on the sidelines, I hope. And on Team Giannis, the reserves are Blake Griffin, which is good. Nikola Jokic, he's good, but he's like East side good. He's like good for like the East, yeah. Even though he plays for the Denver Nuggets, I think. Or is that Nikola No, yeah. Nikola Jokic, for the Denver Nuggets, he's playing as a reserve. Kyle Lowry, which I'm good with. Chris Middleton. Dirk Nowitzki. See, that's the one that I was talking about. That's like, I know why he got picked. Yeah, I know why they did it, but I don't understand like if they were like, Dirk Nowitzki's not a freaking all-star this season, I'd be like, understandably, yeah, I get it. But I also understand why he was picked, right? Just because it's Dirk Nowitzki, man. This is probably his last season, and if it's not, he's a legend, living legend, and he's great. He's just not as good as he used to be, right? Because he's older, and should he really still be playing? I don't know. He's been playing in the league for like 47 years. I don't know. Victor Oladipo, which I think, don't get me, don't, I don't. Hopefully, I'm right about this. I think they're gonna have to replace him with someone because he destroyed his knee not too long ago, and I think he's out indefinitely. D'Angelo Russell, which he's been balling with the Nets, but he's also playing for the East, and he's also playing with the Nets. So you could look like the best player on the Nets kind of easily, in my opinion. This is coming from a 5'6", like 230-pound man who's also bald. Obviously, all these people can ball my ass up. Nikola Vucevic, or I don't know how to say his last name. But yeah, from the Orlando Magic, he's gonna freaking be throwing it down. And Russell Westbrook, which is probably one of the best picks here, and why he's a reserve over like Paul George or Kemba Walker. Which, don't get me wrong, they're great players, but Russell Westbrook is like killing it right now, and he kills it every season. And he's like the triple double freaking deity right now. He's freaking amazing. He's a great player. He's a great point guard, and I think he's one of the greatest that to ever play the actual point guard position. Yeah, he's amazing. Just the way he's playing right now. And then Mike Budenhauser, Hauser, whatever. He's gonna be coaching, aka getting drunk and faded and hitting on all the cheerleaders off to the sidelines. He's the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's coaching Team Giannis. So, but that's it. Oh, shouldn't have freaking done that. But that's it, you guys. I mean, who do I think is gonna win? Obviously, Team LeBron, because he's got every single player that's 100% good. And Giannis, see, there's some questionable people that I'm like, why would you? What? Who? Why? Like, But then again, it's like who else would you pick at this point? But at the same time, I'm like, how would you pick him over this person? Like right now, like everything should be a little more scattered. I would think that Kyrie Irving would be on the East, and Bradley Beal and Anthony Davis would be like mixed around in the East. And no, it's like all the great players are. All the players that LeBron James wishes he could play with all the time are on his team. And all the great players that you would pick first, other than like Stephen Curry, are on LeBron's side. So it's like, wow. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe everyone just wants to be drunk that day. I don't know. Maybe they're just like, let's make it easy. That way we can freaking get faded. I don't know why I think that these NBA players all they want to do is this, especially the coaches. Could you imagine the coaches? All they want to do is get faded during All-Star Weekend. Like, I don't give a shit about anything. Greg Popovich is in the club with like 2 blunts and champagne bottles just popping off everywhere, and he's got sunglasses on inside. Hell yeah, that's the American dream right there. Woo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I should cut it here. Because I got some stuff to do. Let me chug the rest of this Coors in front of you guys so y'all can be jealous. Oh, yeah. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening and watching to the podcast. Join me hopefully next week. Again, if you're a fan of comedy and you want to see a comedian develop in the developing stage, I don't recommend it because I've bombed a few times already. But this week, or every Tuesdays and Thursdays in Riverside, Tuesdays at the Hideaway at 8 p.m., open mic at the Hideaway in downtown Riverside. And then Thursdays at 9 p.m. at the Getaway by UC Riverside. And this week, I'm actually going to try to go on Monday. I think it's at 8 p.m. as well at Worthington's Tavern in downtown Riverside. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. And see you guys next time.